I was a senior at Utah State University, psychology student, sitting at the kitchen table one evening, just buried in my homework, when screams erupted from upstairs. I bolted towards the master bedroom, scared to death, and there, on the bathroom floor, I found my father, a Vietnam veteran, 3 tours, special forces, collapsed, trapped in a dissociative state, reliving the horrors that he had never shared with us. In that moment, he didn't see his son, he saw one of his captors returning to torture him. That night, as I worked to bring my father back to reality, PTSD stopped being a textbook concept for me, and it became a living, breathing reality. And it opened up a window into my father's Vietnam experience that I had never known. It started casting light on the shadows that had haunted our family for years. I was never able to help my father truly escape that prison. And that failure, that's part of why this book even exists. That night began a quest, a 30-year quest in my case, to find the tools, skills, and frameworks that could help people transform the ugliest parts of their life into their greatest strengths. Yesterday, I told you this would be one of my most personal stories I've ever told on this podcast. This is it. And what I'm about to show you, what I'm about to share with you, I hope might change how you see every hard thing that you have ever been through. 7 minutes, one truth, one execution move. If you're a leader who's tired of repeating yourself in the same meetings, tired of agreement without execution and follow through, and burdened and overwhelmed by carrying the weight of everyone else's performance, then you're in the right place. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and this is the Dealership War Room. This isn't motivation. This isn't theory. This is a daily leadership briefing for people to actually have to produce results in the arena, at work, and at home. You're in the war room now. Let's work. By now, most of us know what post-traumatic stress is. Very few people know about the other side, post-traumatic growth. Martin Seligman, the psychologist who coined learned helplessness, and if you remember, that's a concept we covered back in episode 285. He eventually turned his attention to the opposite side of the question. Not why do people break, but he started to really dive into studying why do some people come back stronger. And when General Casey, the US Army Chief of Staff, brought Seligman to the Pentagon, the military was in crisis. This is during the Afghan-Iraq wars, and soldiers are returning from Iraq and Afghanistan with PTSD, substance abuse, divorce, depression, and skyrocketing suicide rates. And Casey asked one question: can positive psychology help? Seligman's answer changed everything. What if instead of trying to fix people after they break, we build strength into them before they ever hit the battlefield? Let that resonate. And here's what his research found. People who had endured one of life's 15 most tragic events, torture, grave illness, imprisonment, assault, they consistently showed more intense strengths than people who had experienced none of these things. In other words, people who faced 2 such events became even stronger. 3 or more, stronger still. So here's the tattoo line. What doesn't kill you doesn't just make you stronger. It has the potential to catalyze a profound transformation. Not automatically and not without work, but the capacity is there. Every single person who has survived something they thought would destroy them, to turn it into an incredible strength. Let me tell you a story about Brigadier General Rhonda Cornum. She was a flight surgeon, jet pilot, and MD, microbiologist, all around amazing woman. And during a rescue mission in the Gulf War, her helicopter was shot down, crashed. She had 2 broken arms, a shattered leg, and only 2 other survivors from an entire 8-person crew. Needless to say, she was captured by Saddam Hussein's forces. And for 8 days, she endured unfathomable torture. And yet when she speaks of that ordeal, she doesn't describe a descent into despair. She describes a transformative awakening. As a flight surgeon, she became a more empathic caregiver. As a commander, she found herself making decisions with a clarity and a fearlessness that she had never known before. And her appreciation for family, it deepened in a way she could not describe. And she said her spiritual connection expanded. Here's what she said: when you come that close to losing everything, your relationships, your family, your very existence, they become precious in a way they never were before. That's post-traumatic growth. The ability to transmute the lead of your darkest moments into the alchemy of gold. And research over the last 20 years has indicated 4 pillars of this transformation. 1, a renewed appreciation for life. You stop taking things for granted. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The second pillar, enhanced personal strength. This unshakable confidence, this anti-fragile confidence that you can face anything because you already have. 3, an openness to new possibilities. Your identity literally expands and doors you have never walked through suddenly feel possible. And 4, a spiritual deepening, a connection to something greater than yourself and a sense of meaning that only comes from having walked through the fire. Now think about your own life, the hardest seasons that you've been through, the failure, the loss, the moment that nearly broke you. You didn't just survive it, you grew from it. And the leader you are today, the strength you carry, the empathy you lead with, the perspective that you bring into hard conversations and tough situations, all of it was forged in that fire. Your scars are not evidence of your brokenness. They're medals of honor. Every one of them has a story. So here is today's execution mode. And I call this the heroic journey. Tonight, grab a journal, piece of paper, and write down 5 moments in your life that when you faced something felt insurmountable. You thought it was going to break you, but you came out the other side. Not someone else's moments that you've read about, yours. And next to each one, I want you to write what you gained, what strength emerged, what perspective shifted, what part of you was forged in that fire. Then look at the list, because what you'll see isn't a list of failures or tragedies. You'll see a blueprint of exactly who you become. And the next time you face something hard, you won't have to wonder, can I really handle this? Because the evidence will be right there in your own handwriting. Not only can you handle it, you will become better. This concept, turning trauma into growth, I think it's the best chapter in the entire book of Unstoppable You, 16 and a half tools for everyday resilience. Because that book is not about avoiding hard things. It's about becoming someone who is shaped by them and not shattered by them. If this episode hit you somewhere deep, then go to chrishunsicker.com and download a free chapter of Unstoppable You. Read it tonight. And if you know someone who's in the middle of their hardest season and they can't quite see the light and they don't know where to go, they don't know there's another side, send them this episode. Not with advice, just with a message. Hey, I thought of you. Listen to this. Because elite leaders, they don't hide their scars. They lead from them. They know that the fire that nearly destroyed them is the same fire that forged them. And they wear those scars, not with shame and not with fear, but with a quiet confidence of someone who has already been through it and came back stronger. That's the kind of leader that you're becoming. And tomorrow, I'm going to dive into the pocket toolkit, 10 tiny tools from the micro moments that knock you off every single day. So please, tomorrow, bring a pen. This one is practical. Go out today, create some leadership fire, find that resilience, transform that trauma, and I'll see you tomorrow in the Dealership Forum.